Does this move signal that the personality is bigger than the platform?
Yes. One of the dumbest things that they told me when I first got into radio is that music is the star. I don't remember who was the person that said this, but I wish... I
don't wish nothing bad on them.
I don't wish anything bad on them, but I wish you wouldn't have told, all these young people who were coming into the radio station that music is the star. That is, personality is the star. You can get the music anywhere.
Devil's advocate. Devil's advocate.
Okay.
The black one.
Devil's advocate.
Black devil's advocate over here.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
So devil's advocate. Was music more powerful than the personality back then versus now? Social media, the way everything is been expedited. I came in the game
in 1999. There was no social media.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
I understand that, but when I came in roughly the same time that Charlamagne the God came in.
Okay.
And you know what? He always leaned into personality. And
he was with Wendy Williams, right?
Yes. And you know what? And that's what he got from Wendy Williams. And you know what? He just got a $200 million deal by the music, whatever. I don't know what music plays during the Breakfast Club. I'm not paying attention. You know why? I'm paying attention to Charlamagne the God.
To the conversation.
To the conversations and the interviews.
Okay.
And so, like I said, that was probably the worst advice you could have given a group of people who had stars in their eyes, if you will, and were coming into radio and were excited, and you tell them that the music that we were just getting in a time where people just download the music, and you were telling them that was more important than the personalities, and so I think that was just remarkably bad advice, because the people who didn't pay attention to that are the ones making the money right now.
What I'll say to that, Mike, too, is I would agree personally that the music is more important than a talking head. Because that's the whole reason that any of this kind of exists in the first place. But that's not the reality of it.
There you go. I'm not mad at that. I just wanted to throw it out there because things have changed, right?
I mean,
there's definitely a nuance there, because I can see both of you being right. Mm-hmm. As somebody that works in radio, as your job, you want to excel. You want to be the person that they tune into.
Yeah.
So you're going to get the same music anywhere you go to. Now, what I'm saying in my skits and who I talk to is going to make you come listen to those same songs with me versus going to listen to those same songs with somebody else.
That's fair.
But when it comes to music as a whole, yes, music is the whole reason that you would have a job as a, a disc jockey or whatever on the radio. But in the same token, you want to be able to, create a charisma or something that's making somebody come back and check out you versus the competition.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
Man? That's why I like Spotify so much.
Yeah.
But I just think about the fact that it's okay, at one point,
we don't like Spotify here.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Oh, what happened?
See, that's why you got to use social media for some reason.
No, what happened? When you guys like Spotify? Okay, I'll rephrase.
I'm just giving you shit.
Streaming,
basically.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to listen to
the people
someone's
talk
opinion
about
everything.
Yeah. But I just remember at one point, in the market, why am I trying to be so vague? In St. Louis, there were 2 urban AC stations. And then there were 2, just straight urban stations that played hip hop. And it was okay, we were all playing the exact same music.
Yeah.
And so, it was a competition on who had the more,
sure, that makes sense.
Really what made sense was who had the more engaging personalities, who had the better mix show DJs.
Absolutely.
And that was about, but a lot of times this was about trying to maintain power from the program directors didn't want the people who were on air to be bigger than the station, because then they could go get money and do whatever.
They sure could.
So it was also power. It was also a power dynamic.
Absolutely.
They were like, hey, be happy with us paying you minimum wage to be on the radio.
That part.
Seriously.
And so
I remember when Hot 96 in its prime was a thing. You would get the Mickey Ficky mix.
Yep.
You would get who was on the radio then?
Like Jay Rio.
Yep.
Rec One.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis. And they had, what was the call in they used to do? Who's on the mic? Such and such is on the mic. They used to do that.
Oh, man. Who was that?
It was people calling in and being involved in the radio show, listening to the same music.
True.
So it was like I'm not going to listen to this other station because it's more engaged and it's more fun, it's lit over here. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying with that.
You guys remember the ZPL, the Hot 9 at 9 back in the day?
I was listening to 96 and 105.7.
I'm talking like 1994.
Yeah.
I wasn't rocking with ZPL like that.
They had a Hot 9 at 9 and it was all, no matter what genre. Like ZPL used to not be like whatever it is today. It used to just kind of be a little bit of everything.
Wasn't it kind of like popular music?
It was more pop. It was called the contemporary. It was, they called it Churban, contemporary hits rhythmic urban.
So I'll explain it like
Digital Underground would be on there, but you might also get like
Paula Abdul,
right.
But Whitney Houston and like just everything.
And that's what I kind of meant.
It was top 40.
Yeah, but they had a Hot 9 at 9. Again, side note, I'm 7 years old listening to this. 8 years old. This is before I formed an opinion on what's good in music. So, but you could call in, and if you called in and you had the 9 songs in a row right, you won something. Like it's shit like that like engages.
I tried to win
Terry
a Super Nintendo back in the day and didn't.
I won like a book and some movie tickets one time.
That sounds like some bullshit.
I think it's just it's a very symbiotic relationship. I think.
Books. Yeah,
like between music and the personalities and the DJs and playing. I don't know if that's really a thing anymore. But again, I don't listen to radio like that. But I know that our DJs here weren't paid very good for being on the radio.
Still,
yeah,
but that also has to do with a lot of when rate consolidation. You know, shout to Bill Clinton for loosening those consolidation rules. It messed up everybody on the radio's money.
Is that how Radio 1 was able to form and companies
yes,
like that?
because it used to be like you could own one AM and one FM station in a particular market. And then when they deregulated radio in 1995 or 96, that was, and then it was like, oh, that's where you get the conglomerates and wind up being Clear Channel, which winds up turning into iHeartRadio, Radio 1, MS. So it's like now, when you come into a market, it's 5 or 6 companies that own every radio station.
Too big to fail capitalism.
Yeah,
right there.
And some of them own TV stations, and might be one that owns a newspaper. So like that's when and then they were like, well, we don't have to pay any of these people anything. They should be happy to even work here. And it used to be people who were on the radio overnight.
Yeah,
were making a living wage.
But guess what? What people found was YouTube. And the net and other apps in order to make that money the way that they want to make the money. So it actually was a good idea that the radio station used somebody that's familiar with that type of format and has been eating off of that to influence people to come listen to the radio.
And plus, a lot of times, well, I don't think it was so much like this here, but in St. Louis, they were like, well, if you would have to leverage whatever time you had on the radio, and then you'd have to be able to go out and get your money in the streets from clubs and hosting parties and happy hours and stuff like that.
Basketball games and shit.
Yeah, that's how I was able to eat.
Like appearances, stuff like that. Yeah,
because what's my guy's name from here? That was the Pacers game.
B Swift.
B Swift is getting it in. He is making that radio make his money for him. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Dude is everywhere.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. He's everywhere. I see him.
But that's
in multiple places.
That's what you suppose. Like they assume, okay, well, you have the platform here. Don't worry. We may not pay you anything here, but you can go out in the streets and get your money.
We gonna pretty much give you kind of a guideline or a platform in order to use, and you can go eat off of it. But you ain't gonna make all your money with us.
Not at all.